everybody. Welcome to Jubilee Circle. Thank you so much for joining us out there on the TV screens, and thank you so much for joining us here in the room. Yeah, maybe we do the wave or something. Something fun this morning. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you joining us however you have joined us this morning. And Deb Varn and the band are going to open up with a song, and then we're going to get going.
Good morning, good morning. This song is by an artist called Marty Appel, and he writes these amazing Laurel Canyon vibe songs from California. And he's in his 70s, and his second life is to be a singer-songwriter. And so this is one of my favorite songs that he has written, and it's called Peace, and it talks about give peace a chance. You know, we all long to be in harmony. Give peace a chance. There's no time to wait. That's the way the world longs to be at peace. And so this is Marty's song. Peace demands more in the absence of war. We all long to be free. Peace can ignore what the ego has in store. Peace don't come easily. Give peace a chance, no time for hate. We all long to be in harmony. Give peace a chance, no time to wait. That's the way the world wants to be. Peace, warm and pure, and God's temperature. How to disagree. Peace, rest assured, the world's secure. Peace don't come easily. Give peace a chance, cancel the hate. That's the way the world wants to be. Give peace a chance, opens doors, slam shut before. Peace reality. Peace don't like war, but it's worth fighting for. Peace don't come easily. Give peace a chance, cancel the hate. We all want to be in harmony. Give peace a chance, no time to waste. That's the way the world wants to be. Thank you. Great job, guys. Mr. Marty Appel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So welcome again to Jubilee Circle. We're so glad that you have joined us this morning. If you're out there on TV land and you want a bulletin, go to jubileecircle.com, or it's in the description. There's a link in the description of the YouTube video. In your bulletin this morning, you will find a quote from Eckhart Tolle that reads, "You find peace not by rearranging the circumstances of your life, but by realizing who you are at the deepest level." That is the secret that your ego doesn't want you to find out, because it assures you as soon as your circumstances change, as soon as somebody stops doing what they're doing that you don't like and do only what you do like, then you'll be at peace. The truth is, we have no real control of the world outside of ourselves. People will be who they are, and they will do what they do no matter what we think about it, right? So the way to peace is not through changing circumstances so it won't hit your stuff and trigger you. The only way to peace is to understand one thing. You are peace. You were created in the stillness of God's peace, and you have never left that peace. So the good news is you can touch this peace at any moment, no matter what the circumstances might look like around you. So this morning, Agape licensed spiritual practitioner Deb Barn is going to teach us how to find that peace within and how to get it back when the circumstances make us forget who we truly are. That we always have the peace that seems to be missing. When we go inside and find it, that's when we all get to say, "Oh yeah." Please rise as you're able. And we begin, as we do with every Jubilee Circle celebration. We begin by remembering the four elements, the fire and the earth and the water and the air. And we burn sage as a reminder that this is a safe and a sacred time, that this is a place where you can let your hair down, be who you truly are. This is a place of no judgment, except for Bob. Bob can't put his hair down. His hair already went down. So I invite you, set your intentions this morning for peace and love and joy, not just in your own heart, but out in the whole wide world as we turn and face the east. The element of the east is air, represented by our altar there with feathers. Air and breath give us life. It is the direction of inspiration, the word that literally means to take air. The east is associated with the mind, with knowledge and learning and intellectual curiosity. Turning toward the east, we look for a fresh start, an invigorating breath, a new idea. When you're feeling stuck in a rut, jubilance, beholden to a routine, or if the wind has gone out of your sails, I invite you to look eastward. Quarter turn to the right, we face the south. The element of the south is fire, represented on our altar by a candle flame. Fire is a transformative force. It is heat and light and powerful change. When our internal weather gets cold, turning south is a metaphor for turning toward warmth and daylight, seeking out the changes that will warm us up, get our blood moving, calls us out of our winters, out of hibernation, into action. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. The element of the west is water, and in the west, we're drawn into the experience of our emotions. It is a direction that calls us to self-reflection and self-understanding. Our emotions move in us like water, flowing through our lives, sometimes calm and sometimes turbulent, but always flowing. When we dam up our feelings, just like when we dam up a river, the pressure builds until it finds an outlet. So if you're seeking this morning to get in touch with that inner life, with your emotions, turn westward. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. The element of the north is earth. There's stability here, the ground of our being. The north represents the place that holds us, that allows us time and space to heal and grow, to feel nurtured and respected. It's also a place of embodiment, of connecting with our physical self, with the concrete, tangible world around us. The north calls to you if you are seeking balance, the deep wisdom that lives in your bones, a place of rest and recovery. And as we turn back toward the center, I invite you this morning to breathe deeply. Enter into this present moment. Leave behind all your concerns about what happened before this moment and what might happen when we leave this place. I invite you, jubilants, to be here now, feeling the peace and love and joy in this community. And that'll make you want to say, oh yeah. Thank you, Jess. I invite you to remain standing for our opening tune. We got a little I release and I let go, little Ricky Byers for you this morning to get our blood pumping. It's time to greet one another and have a good time. All right.
Yes.
We're doing I release.
Are you going to do the opening bed? No. Okay.
We're just going to sing it.
All right. Oh, capo. Oops, sorry. Oops.
We'll sing here in a minute. You can sing with us.
We haven't had our morning coffee yet. Please excuse
I release and I let go. I let spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm holding it for life. No more struggle, no more strife.
Hear these wise and holy words.
From author speaker Marianne Williamson. Lovely. As I enter any worldly chaos from a place of internal peace, my stillness works to dissolve the chaos. I need not fear any turmoil in the world as long as there is peace in me. God's eternal peace is the ground on which I stand as I navigate the shifting sands of time. The world is always changing, but God within me is changeless. I am love. I am safe. I am blessed. And I am protected. As I look upon others and wish them those things, I experience them in myself. From A Course in Miracles, lesson 109, I rest in God. We ask for rest today and quietness unshaken by the world's appearances. We ask for peace and for stillness in the midst of all turmoil born of clashing dreams. We ask for safety and for happiness, although we seem to look on danger and on sorrow. And we have the thought that will answer our asking with what we request. I rest in God. This thought will bring you rest and quiet, peace and stillness, and the safety and the happiness you seek. I rest in God. This thought has the power to wake the sleeping truth in you, whose vision sees beyond appearances to that same truth in everyone and everything that there is. Here is the end of suffering for all the world and everyone who ever came and yet will come to linger for a while. Here is the thought in which the Son of God is born again to recognize himself. I rest in God, completely undismayed. This thought will carry you through storms and strife, past misery and pain, past loss and death, and onward to the certainty of God. There is no suffering it cannot heal. There is no problem it cannot solve, and no appearance but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. And from singer-songwriter John Lennon, peace is not something you wish for. It is something that you make, something you do, something you are, and something you give away.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. And I forgot to say, welcome to Jubilee Circle and tell you a little bit about Jubilee Circle. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been up here, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Neither do I.
Yeah, that's right. Blind leading the blind up here. But we are a progressive interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, and broadcasting around the world. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in all mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. We use popular music and teachings and weekly celebrations, educational and artistic events, other community-building activities to create a space for everybody to come and experience that inner transformation so then they can go out and be that transformation in the world, that we're here to expand our souls, to find that deeper meaning in life, to renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, learn how to love wastefully, and undergo a transformation from the inside out to discover how to touch that peace within that already is there, to discover that true nature of ourselves. And we also recognize we're part of God's good creation. We're formed in love and joy as well as stardust. And we forget this, though. We get out in the world and we see you over there and me over here, and we start to believe in separation. And then all the judging starts, and we look at other people and we go, oh, well, those people are beautiful, those people are ugly, those people are good, those people are bad, those people are generous, those people are stingy, and those people are loving, and those people. So recalcitrant, yes. But let us remember our function here, Jubilants. It is to remember who we truly are, that we have never left our home in God, and we can go back at any moment. And so we are here to awaken and to say, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Time for music.
The song we're going to share with you now is from my first record a long time ago. And it's a song I wrote with my guitar player, and it's called Start With Me. You know, in my mind. And so
I believe it.
the thing about this song is every time I sing, this may be the last time I ever play it, just so you know. Because every time I play this song, all hell breaks loose in my life after I play it. Because it says, let it start with me in the wisdom of humility. And God said, okay. I'm going to give you some humility. But, you know, there's only one of us here, and we're each responsible for our state of consciousness, our state of peace that we get to cultivate. And so if we want the world to change, let it start with me. Let it start with you. And so at the end of this song, we go into this vamp, and it says, sun and rising on the wind of change. Open your heart and let love reign. So you're invited to sing along as Leslie and Tricia are going to sing that part, and then I'm going to vamp out at the end. So it would help them if you guys could jump in and sing with them. So it's called Start With Me. It's kind of rock and roll, so buckle up. By faith we die. Don't let the in-between pass you by. You can lose your soul in bitterness and hate, or live the joy that peace creates. Open your mind to the possibilities and break these chains of insecurity. Take my hand, talk hard to love. Well, that's the start. A good place to start. In the land of the free and the home of the brave. Just look at this mess that we have made. We're doing to others before they do unto you. Is what's become of the golden rule. Open your mind to the possibilities. Break these chains of insecurity. Take my hand, count on to brother against brother, like twos, but don't miss a three. Staring back at you. If the world will change, let it start with me. And the wisdom of humility. Open my mind to the possibilities and break my chains. Insecurity, take my hand. I want to love. Well, that's the start. A good place to start. Sun is rising on the wind of change. Open your heart and let love rain. Break the chain. Open your sun is rising on the wind of change. Open your heart and let us rain. Let us all change. Let us all. Sun is rising on the wind of change. Open your heart and let love rain. Sun is rising on the wind of change. Open your heart and let love rain. Sing it now. Break the chain. Sun is rising on the wind of change. Open your heart and let love rain. Break the chain. Start with me. Thank you. Way to go, band. Woo! Thank you. Great job, everybody. How about the band, the vocalist? Oh my God. And that keyboard player over there playing that organ. Mike, amazing. Okay, I am. Hang on. That's not my mic, it's my phone. There we go. Check, check. Whew, I got to take a breath after that. It's been a long time since I played rock and roll. Thank you. Great job, man. I just have to preface this whole thing today to say that I'd like to thank the band for an opportunity for growth and expansion. And growth is messy. And when you give your life to God, everything unlike God shows up at your front door. And that's what happened to me with Start With Me. It's like, okay, here's your lesson in humility. This is where you still have some unhealed parts. And so that's what we get to look at today. And then it's almost like we're revisiting some things we talked about before, because it's all us. You know, we are the center of our own little universe, so we're responsible for the energy we bring and the energy that we allow. And so self-awareness is a huge part of it, so we'll continue to talk about that. And we'll continue to talk about forgiveness, because that's so important, because the ego loves to beat us up when we make mistakes and tell you, well, there you go, you're not worthy of doing this, that, and the other. You are just a little peon, and you're never going to rise in consciousness. And so we have to look at that and be able to listen to the right voice and forgive ourselves and other people when we make mistakes. And so I like to think about Tony Robbins, okay? Because Tony Robinson talks about how when people first fall in love, and they're all smitten and everything, and it's like, oh, I get to take out the trash. I get to hang a picture today. I'm going to take their car to get washed. You know, and you're all excited and happy, and then something happens, you know, because you're drawn together for growth as well as joy. And so that's not just in romantic relationships, it's in all relationships. When a band comes together, they're here to grow spiritually as people grow in consciousness and to experience joy. That's a part of it. But you get drawn in by being smitten. And you're smitten with whomever this person is, or smitten with a band. And then when you're ready, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so we draw these things into our experience. And so we can look at them and go, no, I didn't do that. I'm sorry. You must have made some kind of mistake at the bus. Thank you. And so we have to be able to be self-aware. And then as I was thinking about it in meditation, the 4 Agreements dropped into my consciousness, which is a powerful book by Don Miguel Ruiz. Has anybody ever read that? Those 4 agreements, and we'll go through them briefly, are tools that we can put in our problem-solving repertoire, as the Course says, to bring us back to peace and recognize that we are responsible for our side of the equation. And so the first thing to do, and I need to tell you this, is one of my favorite things about being a principal is I wore an ID badge. It had my name on it, my picture. And at the very bottom, it said principal. And so I would feel that whoop come up. And I would look down at my ID, and it says, yep, you're a principal. You cannot act a fool today. And so, you know, and so I feel like since I can't wear this shawl all the time, I'm going to have to make myself an ID that says, yes, you're a spiritual practitioner and you cannot be a biatch today. you have to stay in your peace. So when you see me coming walking around and I got a little ID badge, just know that that's my reminder to be responsible for my part of the equation. So first thing is self-awareness. And speaking of self-awareness, I got to stop just for a second because I got to tune in, tap in. So just join me in this agreement. I don't know why I forget to do it. I just get excited about what I'm going to talk about. But how grateful I am. Grateful just to be alive, awake today. Grateful for the opportunity to be in service, to be in community with so many mighty companions. Grateful to be in service with talented musicians and tech folks. Just grateful to be grateful. Recognizing that it's all God everywhere, God, that even stones vibrate with spirit. There is no place where God is not. That God is peace, God is joy, God is prosperity, God is wholeness and perfection. And I am one with this power, this presence, this peace. It's closer than my breath, nearer than my hands and feet. It is what I am. It is what we are. And each of us are one with this power and presence of the living God. And so it's from this place of absolute oneness, one with God, one with each other, one with all that is, that I bless this time. I surrender myself to be in service, knowing that it's God in, through, and as me that does this work, in, through, and as the band that sings and plays, in, through, and as each and every person here. It is a powerful co-creation of our oneness with God, and we rest in God. And I simply say, amen. So thank you. I needed that for myself. So, principle. Each of us, and its principle is absolute truth. And it's spoken in many different ways, but there's one truth. And principle says that we are one with God. Unity is a quality of God. And as we are one with God, we embody the qualities that are God. So as Candace was speaking a couple weeks ago, I think when you were talking about blessing, being blessed. Blessed to me is the same thing as grace. And grace is the givingness of God in spite of sometimes us being, off the chain. But God, in spite of ourselves sometimes. So it popped in my head to talk about another quality of God, which is peace, which is what we all want. The Course says perfect peace is some form of answered prayer. So the invitation again is to practice self-awareness. When we feel ourselves get triggered, and I don't always do this, but hindsight's 20/20. So when I feel that tug of negative emotion, I just got to do what Reverend Michael says, SMB, sit my butt down. Do not say anything, do not do anything, because it will come out from the ego. And here's the thing, even if I apologize, it's not going to feel like apology because I have such a huge energy field that whether I'm radiating love or radiating because I'm angry, it's not going to match up with what's coming out of my mouth. And kids are really good at recognizing this. It's a survival mechanism for little people. So I have to take responsibility for my energy. So when we feel that tug, the invitation is to take yourself out of the equation, even if you just take a breath. Look down at your ID badge and say, yes, I'm a practitioner. Because we're all practitioners. It's not just agape practitioners. You practice the presence. You practice these principles. We are all practitioners. Yes. Okay. Bring yourself back to that center, and then we can respond rather than react. Because when we react the same way we've always done. React. So being aware of what's happening in your body, being aware of, like, what happens with me is like I can feel my heart start to race, or my muscles tense up. So to look for that, be aware of where it's taking place. And so when I feel my heart get tight, I take a few conscious breaths into my heart space so that I can bring myself back to peace. Now, that doesn't mean I don't deal with the anger, because we have a right to feel the way we feel. But we don't have a right to be unkind. So we have to be able to honor our feelings. And so it may be that I write in what I told you was my FU journal. If you don't want to do this, just express it on paper so that you get it out. Because when we try to push down our emotions being nice, it manifests in the body in a form of dis-ease. So we've got to bring ourselves back to peace, and we still have a right to let those feelings flow. And so that's all a part of being awareness. And if there's something for us to forgive, remember, forgiveness starts with us. I forgive myself for believing something should have turned out differently. I forgive myself for judging myself, or I forgive myself for judging someone else. And I may have to do that several times. I may have to do that 3 days. I may have to do it a lot longer, depending on what's going on. But go back to your notes on forgiveness. And whoever pops in your mind is the person we have to work with. I forgive myself. And you can do the same thing with it. I forgive you. Or I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I honor the Spirit of the living God that is you. And that helps bring us back to peace, because that is who we are. And a dear friend of mine spit back my words at me. And she said, Deb, you are the thermostat, not the thermometer. So which means we have to be responsible for our own state of consciousness. And by being self-aware and by practicing forgiveness, we can bring ourselves back to that. Because don't worry, if you don't get the lesson, it's going to come back. And it's going to be a same situation, but a different set of pants, as Ayanna Van Zant says. So I picked, let's just go ahead and get this. It may take me a couple days, but I'm going to sit with it. And then I remembered the 4 agreements with Don Miguel Ruiz. And if you haven't read his book, and it's a powerful thing. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. And it means to speak with integrity. Because, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God. We create form with our words. And so we have to be in integrity with our words. We have to say what we mean what we say, and avoid using the word against ourselves and gossiping about other people. We are vicious with ourselves. And if something is attacking and blaming, that is not the voice of spirit. That's the easy one to catch. That is the voice of the ego. So we use the power of our word in the direction of truth and love. And as my mama used to say, if you can't say nothing nice, keep your mouth closed. And that's something that I've been trying to learn for 59 years. And my mama used to say, don't let your mouth overload your behind. And so if I can learn to embody being impeccable with my word and being at peace, whew, life, and all we got to do is keep trying. Some days I feel like my knuckles are barely off the ground. And this is a powerful one for me, especially as an educator or as a teacher, is don't take anything personally. Because, nothing others people do is because of you. Nothing. They're all, what they say and do is just a projection of their own stuff, their own thoughts or perceptions about their dream, their illusion, their movie that's going on in their head. And there's a book, and it has a saying, the title of the book is, "What you think of me is none of my business." And the thing about it is what I think of you is none of your business. Because it's only us. That's what we're responsible for. And when we can use the power of our word and we can take responsibility and don't take anything personally, then we're going to be immune to other people's opinions about us, and we're going to be able to not worry about their actions, and we won't have to be victims of needless suffering. So we can't take anything personally because, one, we don't know what's going on in somebody else's world. And I used to tell people that God's opinion of me makes everybody else's irrelevant. And God's opinion of me is the same opinion it has about everybody, and that is, this is my beloved child in whom I am well pleased. Perfect, whole, and complete, lacking nothing. And sometimes I forget that because you get caught up in expectations. And then don't make assumptions. Y'all know what assumption means, right? Don't make a ass out of you and me to assume something. So it's important to ask questions. You can't assume that somebody got information, because that didn't work well for me. We have to be willing to ask questions. Ask, what questions, and then be able to, speak your truth in love. Communicate as clearly as you possibly can to avoid misunderstandings. Because if I communicate a message to Candace, how am I going to know if she received it? We have to kind of ask for clarification. Is there anything else you need to know, or what are your thoughts about that? Be willing to have that. But a lot of times we're afraid to ask questions, because you don't want to look bad. It's kind of like Joe will tell me to play some chord, and I'll be like, he'll say, "You got that?" I say, "Okay." And then I look, and I take a breath, and I say, "Joe, can you show me how to do that?" So we have to be willing to admit you don't know something and ask for clarification and not assume anything. And, with this one agreement, we can bring peace without limit by not assuming anything, being able to communicate, and especially in relationships, because we do these first drafts in our mind about how another person is behaving, and it's so far removed from the truth of what's going on in that person's mind. If we don't check for understanding, then we could be in the car packing, because we have to be willing to have these conversations. And then the final one is to always do your best. And that is going to change day to day. And I learned that lesson with the band this week because, stuff happens. So my best is not going to be great when I am sick, or when you have a death in your family, or when something's going on. But as long as we do the best we can under the circumstances we find ourselves in, and we realize we've done our best, then we let go of self-judgment. And as soon as we let go of self-judgment, self-abuse, we can let go of regret. Because I was one of these people that as a musician, after the show was over, I would replay that whole show in my mind, and I would pick out my mistakes. And I would say, I regret, I wish I hadn't done that. I should have spent more time on that section. And then you weren't able to enjoy the beauty of being able to make music with your friends. So we have to just cut ourselves some slack. And just realize that not only am I doing the best I can, my brother is doing the best that they can with the knowledge and understanding that they have. Now, that doesn't mean you got to hang out with them. That doesn't mean you got to play with them or go to lunch with them. But we have to realize that person is doing the best that they can. And I can still be kind. And that is my growing edge. So the invitation is to be steeped in your spiritual practice of prayer, meditation, studying truth, whatever speaks to you, asking empowering questions, what's seeking to emerge in, through, and as this situation. Forgive ourselves. Forgive whoever. And remember, Jesus said, Joshua said to forgive 70 times 70. And that goes for us and another. And then the invitation is to, touch base with Don Miguel's work, and you can find a little summary of those 4 agreements. To be impeccable with your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And be kind with your words. Don't take anything personal, because it is not about us or not about you. It's not about me. It's whatever's going on in this person. My principal used to bark at me sometimes, and I just look at her, and I loved and adored her. I said, that ain't about me, sister. I didn't say that to her face because I'd be fired. But, don't take things personally, and not to make assumptions. Be brave enough to ask questions. And sometimes, we all, as students, we were like so afraid to raise our hand in class. Anybody had that problem when you were in school? You didn't want to raise your hand because you didn't want anybody to know that you didn't know. But we got to get over that. We've got to ask questions. We've got to be able to communicate effectively. And the only way you know a message is communicated effectively if the message you sent is received with the intention of which you sent it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a hot mess. So be willing to ask questions. And finally, always do your best. If we do our best, we don't have anything to feel guilty for. I know I rehearse for a show. And when I stepped in to play, I didn't have anything to feel guilty about. I was playing the best. I was at the top of my game. And even if I made a mistake, I knew I did my best. And it took so many years to not beat myself up for every mistake or every missed note. And so that's the invitation. Peace begins with us. It's an inside job. And it, like Marty said, peace won't come easily. But we all long to be in harmony. And so if each of us as individuals work on ourselves, because Deborah Ann's a full-time job, and so is everybody else, then we're all going to find ourselves being the thermostat in every space that we enter. Does that make sense? Great. Just a moment. Just grateful for
the presence that's closer than my breath. Grateful that we are each one with all the qualities of the infinite. Recognizing it's all God, it's all good. Everything working together for our good in this universe. I am one with this power, this presence. It is my life. It breathes me, it moves me, it knows itself as me. And as this is true for me, it's true for each and every person here and in the Zoom land. One with God, one with each other, and one with all that is. And so it's from this place of oneness that I give thanks for grace, for the givingness of God always and in always. I give thanks that regardless of how I choose to behave, the Creator's love for all of us is changeless. The same yesterday, today, and forever. I give thanks for each and every person on our path, knowing that our greatest teacher is always standing before us. Love, love, and more love. That is the truth. So I give thanks for Spirit's message this morning, for the tools that we get to put in our tool case as we walk each other home, because that's what we're doing. We are one self united with our Creator, walking each other home, all doing the best that we can. I give thanks for this and so much more. And I simply say, amen.
I can use this. It'll be good. I invite y'all during this prayer time. Those 4 agreements, I encountered them very early in my life. And when you encounter heavy, really great stuff early in your life, you don't know what to do with it. You don't. Because you're like, well, that's all nice. And then you just walk out, live your life like you hadn't read anything. But one of the things that I think is effective in putting the 4 agreements into practice into your life is something called practicing the power of the pause. One of my favorite people to talk to is a man named David Ezel. Now, some of you know David. He was our music director for a hot minute. And if you have ever had a conversation with David, it's like talking to a Buddha in some ways. Because you will talk to him, you will ask him questions, and even in every course of the conversation, David will pause. And I'm really appreciative of that because I know, number one, he's hearing me because he's trying to take in what I'm saying to him. And he's considering his response. He will always pause. And I told him once how much I appreciated that. And he said, it's that very same thing. He wants to be impeccable with his word. And he wants to absorb what you have said to him. Because he's not taking it personally. He's not making an assumption, because after he pauses, he might ask you a question. Something to clarify. And he always wanted, he always, when he was our music director, he always made me want to do my best. And that's what was the most powerful thing, was that you could tell he was with you. He was present in that conversation. You were the only thing in his world. What a world we would create if we all walked around like that. Whoever is in front of me, they have my attention. They have my heart. And whatever they say, I want to understand it and take it in and pause and be with them How powerful that is. And you know, you can only do that when you remember your state of peace. When you remember that you are not just in peace, you are peace. And that's what you're called to bring into every situation, that peace and that love and that joy. And you will not always do it right. That is just how life works. Because we all walk around with little egos that want to be right instead of happy or in relationship. So I invite you in this time of meditation. Consider these 4 agreements and how you can put them into practice in your own life. Don't take anything personally. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. Thank you. And always do your best. Oh, yeah. Breathe deeply. And we say that a lot here, but that's another thing that you can do when you feel triggered. Breathe deeply, because it will put you right back into this present moment. Oh, yeah. So now is the time when we do something else that might be triggering for people, of asking for money, asking for your support. But we appreciate everyone who has been giving their support, everyone who will give their support in the future. Take that back to your mama. Okay. You can give in all a variety of ways. You can write a check and send it to Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29240. You can go to Venmo. You can go to PayPal. You can go to JubileeCircle.com. There's a little donate button there. There are all sorts of ways that you can give. If you're here in the room and you don't have cash, there's a little QR code that will take you to PayPal or Venmo. But we thank you so much for your support. We thank you for the support that you've given us in the past, the support that you will give us in the future, because Jubilee Circle wants to be here to serve everyone as long as we can, and that your support helps us. So thank you so much for all of that. And let me make a few announcements before we send our YouTube folks on their way. Just want to give you an update on some of the things that are happening next Sunday. I got to get a sermon together, because I'll be preaching. We're going to talk about practicing the resurrection of worthiness. We're going to use some music from Kebmo and Krishna Das. And then this coming week, it's Cabaret Week at the Living Room. So come join us on Tuesday and Thursday night at 7:30. Clayton King and Lanny Spires are going to be performing this month. And they're going to be doing some pop songs, some Bare Naked Ladies, and some other things. So come and hear them do some great singing. If you saw the cabaret last month, woo, it was amazing. with Clayton and Vicky Say Henderson. And so we're going to continue this cabaret series all the way through September. So you get a chance to come and enjoy the enormous talent. It's $20 at the door or online, BYOB, if you want a beverage of your choice. Friday, May 26th, we're going to host Wombat Junction here in the living room. Tickets are $10 for that. Snacks and non-alcoholic beverages are always provided for any of these shows, BYOB otherwise. June 2nd, we're going to hear some nice country and folksy tunes from the Green Swamp Collective. They're based out of Sumter, South Carolina. Tickets are $10 for that. And then the Columbia Light Opera Society is going to do a 3-day run. They're going to be here Friday, August 18th through Sunday, August 20th with their Gilbert and Sullivan's production of Trial by Jury. That's going to be fun. Soundy School at 10:30 every Sunday. Course in Miracles discussion group on Wednesdays at 7:30. Is there any other things that I missed? Any other? Bob, oh, yes. Bob had handed me this, let's see, second Saturday in May. So this Saturday, fill a bag and help families in need. So the Postal Service does this every year where your mail deliverer, your mail carrier, will pick up food for the hungry. So if you want to leave a bag, it says bag healthy, non-perishable food items and place by your mailbox for your letter carrier to pick up and deliver to food banks and pantries in your community. So it's the second Saturday in May. So it's next Saturday. If you fill a bag and leave it by your mail receptacle, they will your letter carrier will pick up the bag and it will go to feed the hungry. So that is a good thing to remember and do next Saturday. Anything else I'm missing? All right. Well, thank you so much. You folks out there in YouTube land, we are glad that you joined us this morning, and join us again next week, and we will see y'all then. But remember, until then, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, that will be enough. That's what Meister Eckhart says, and that means being in gratitude puts you in that present moment, that moment where you can take that self-responsibility and remember those 4 agreements. And that will make everyone say, oh yeah. See y'all later.